Astros is ramping up to levels beyond just baseball.
Listen to this. Some of the players are saying they and their families are now getting death threats. Daniel Cotera joins us with the story. Daniel, criticism for sign stealing one thing, death threats, I hope they go after these people.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. And you know, the dark side of social media is a pretty nasty place. Now, the Astros knew apologizing was never going to be good enough. They know their actions have caused a surge of negativity towards the club. But Josh Reddick saying this afternoon, it's getting worse and worse by the day. The outfielder telling ESPN and a group of other reporters in West Palm Beach that he and his teammates are the recipients of constant harassment online. The awful messages, sometimes including death threats for them and their families. Reddick, in reference to his Instagram direct messages, saying, quote, "It just says, I will kill your family, I will kill your kids." He goes on to add, "It's really depressing to read because over a game of baseball, it's not worth that kind of a drastic measure." He also mentioned that one of the posts of his twin baby boys rolling over for the first time included the comment, "I hope your kids get cancer." Completely unacceptable and disgusting behavior here. And to make things worse, after today's comments, fans of other teams agreed with the comments and were demanding proof that Reddick wasn't just making the whole thing up. This isn't life or death. They used a camera to steal some signs in a game of baseball. Yes, they're grown men. They can handle tough guy keyboard warriors that think it's cool to spew this type of nonsense, but bringing in family and kids crosses the line. Major League Baseball needs to take these threats seriously because, as Reddick also said, what's to stop someone from following through before or after a game on the road? Sadly, that's now become a realistic question to ask, guys.
Yeah, we have ventured into the ridiculousness. Thank you.